You're in the dog house.
Stewart Media and Entertainment presents the Two Live Stews Experience. This right here, this ain't your ordinary-ish.
Two Live Stews Experience. Ryan Stewart, Doug Stewart. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Yes, we.
Actually, we're not in the doghouse. We're in the huddle with Joe. Right here on the Stews Media Network. I don't know what happened, Joe. For some reason, man, they didn't set up the studio the way it was supposed to be set up so that I can get to the show opener. But hey, it's all good. You know, I just had to operate on the fly.
No,
Joe
hey, it is Stewart Media and Entertainment.
Yeah.
But now you have to understand you're dealing with the quarterback here. That's nothing easier than an audible. Black 10. We're gonna run hitches on the outside. We gotta blitz up the middle. Absolutely.
Right.
We got to blitz up the middle, and we're going to make sure we deliver outside, and we're going to gain 8 yards and move the chains. So there's no problems, brother. Everything is all good, man.
You know what, Joe? I felt like Pat Mahomes, man. I felt like they were containing me on the outside. I tried to go up the middle, but big Jalen Carter, he was breathing down my neck, man. I got to go down, you know, but you can't go down. You got to make a play. You got to make a play, Joe.
Can you make a play when there is no play? What is greatness all about? When we define greatness, what does that entail? Can you be great and put everybody on your back? Can you carry an entire team? Can you make up for the offensive line? Can you make up for defensive woes? Can you make up for GM or ownership? Can you make up? That's what being great is all about.
Right.
And I'm going to tell you, man, we're going to jump right into it, Nadi. And it was boring, man.
Well, we're gonna get right into it. We're gonna recount the Super Bowl. Call it the butt whooping heard around the world. You know, they were doing a lot of belt the asses. Joe, what did you get out that Super Bowl? I mean, what was that one thing that was glaring to you that you said they can't win? This is why Philadelphia was successful tonight.
When you can build a team in the trenches, especially the defensive line, how you stop greatness, how you stop a Hall of Famer sure shot in Patrick Mahomes, you're able to rush 4 and you can drop 7 in your coverage. And that's when you're going to get that quarterback patting the ball. That's when you're going to get the quarterback having happy feet, not sure where to go with the ball. And the bottom line is that I feel that if the Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs line up 5 times, I think the Eagles are going to beat those guys 4 times. They're going to go 4-1. And why? It's because of the offensive line and defensive line. Because if you have a blueprint, if you have a script, and you say that Saquon Barkley is not going to rush for 60 yards, and that's what's been carrying the Philadelphia Eagles their entire season, and that happened, you would say Kansas City is going to win the football game, but that was just not the case. And I will say this. I had said that, Kansas City Chiefs was going to win the football game, and my reasons were that you have a better coach, the Chiefs, and you have the better quarterback. None of those guys showed up. Nick Sirianni, the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles, he outclassed, outcoached.
Joe.
He outclassed and he outcoached Andy Reid.
Andy Reid showed up. I saw Andy Reid on the sideline. He was there. Pat Mahomes showed up. I saw him play the whole 60 minutes of a football game. So they showed up.
Oh, they showed up, but they didn't show up wearing their same suit. They didn't show up being who they are. They didn't show up having the same moxie. They didn't show up having the same, we're going to have a close game. We're going to win at the end because of our experience, because we've won 17 straight games and 1 possession games that we're going to impose our will. I'm telling you, Nick Sirianni outcoached Andy Reid and Jalen Hurts, dare I say. I don't say he's a better quarterback now than Patrick Mahomes, but he outplayed Patrick Mahomes on Sunday night. There's no doubt about it.
Joe, but if we really look at it and we really think about it, Jalen Hurts outplayed Pat Mahomes this season. We look at the Kansas City Chiefs, they didn't play up to par the whole year. Patrick Mahomes probably had his worst season as a professional statistically this season. Now, they got away with winning a lot of games. I mean, some would say they had some great calls in clutch moments, but The Kansas City Chiefs didn't look great all year, and the defense did look really good all year, but Chris Jones was coming into this game with a brace on his knee.
Yeah, and what I would say about that, Nadi, is this, that Patrick Mahomes did not have a season like we're accustomed to him having, but he won. And he won close games. He was there at the end. He was able to pull, those nail biters off. He did not hurt his team. Sunday night, he hurt his team. Sunday night, Patrick Mahomes hurt his team. He gave up a pick six. And then I said right when it happened, I was telling the family members because my son turned 17 years old, and he hosted a Super Bowl party at the house.
All right.
Outstanding time. And what happened, I told everybody, the worst thing as a quarterback is that if you throw a pick six, there's no worse feeling. But why? Because the next play after the kickoff, after the extra point and the kickoff, you're going to have to jog back out there. And how can you clear your mind? Do you have enough moxie? Do you have enough forward? Enough to get back out there, to flush it down the toilet and live and see the next play, another play, and let that play go? And Patrick Mahomes was not able to do that. So I have to call it like I see it. Patrick Mahomes threw a pick six to Cooper DeJean, and then the next pass was another interception. So he gave the Philadelphia Eagles 14 points right there. So he was not able to keep those guys in the football game and allow your whole team to be in it when the going got tough. It was all in the trenches. And what I'm saying about this, why I say Andy Reid got outcoached. The Philadelphia Eagles gave up more rushing yards than passing yards. Let that sink in. This entire season, they gave up more rushing yards than passing yards. That's how stout that defensive passing secondary and linebackers as an overall unit with Vic Fangio, they played the pass very, very well. Now, they wasn't, poo-pooing on the rushing attack, but that was the less of that defense. How have you, Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes and that offensive staff, you're going to only run the ball 7 times? 7 design runs. That's when I say they got outcoached, outclassed, and where were the adjustments? Some people would say to you, Nadi, that the game was out of hand after halftime, so you couldn't go back to the run. You could not go back to your 15 scripted play or your dirty dozen, what we would call it. But that's what you have to do. You have to get one score. You can't score 24 points in one drive. So you have to, piece by piece, methodically go down and at least get one score, one drive. So that was very, very disappointing. And it's an understatement for me to tell you I was shocked Sunday night from what I saw.
Well, I wasn't really shocked, but let me go to you why I wasn't shocked. Yes, you would give the coaching advantage going into that game to Andy Reid. Yes. You would give the quarterback advantage to Pat Mahomes going into that game. But everywhere else, the advantage was to Philly. And one thing you spoke about how Spags, he really had his focus on stopping Saquon Barkley. Well, what that does is that gives A.J. Brown, Goddard, Devontae Smith, okay, y'all going to have one-on-one matchups. And Jalen Hurts took advantage of that. Talk about how well Jalen Hurts played in this Super Bowl.
Well, Jalen Hurts, I'm telling you, not necessarily me, but I'm going to put myself up there as well. We have to stop looking at Jalen Hurts like he's Dan Marino. We have to stop looking at Jalen Hurts like he's a pocket passer, like he's going to wow you at 4,000 yards and throw for 46 touchdowns, 40 touchdowns. He is a unique quarterback. He's a quarterback that you got to have to look at his total yards per game. You're going to have to look at his total touchdowns per game. What is he doing with his legs? Is he moving the chains? Is he getting the hidden yards? The way he maneuvered that pocket, the way he stood in that pocket and was able to bake a cake with poise, deadly accurate with the deep ball, on time with AJ Brown, on time with the deep ball, Devontae Smith. Jalen Hurts is a top, dare I say, 5'6" quarterback in his own right. So now as we looking at football, we have to look at it from a different lens, and how we judge quarterbacks. We have to judge them for what they do for their team, how they produce for their team, and what are they asked to do. Jalen Hurts is not asked to drop back 30, 35 times. That's not what he's asked to do. Can he do it? The competitor he is, I think he can, but he's not asked to do that in the offensive line. So Jalen Hurts, man, he's paid. He's earned his money. So that's 2 Super Bowls he's been to, 1 Super Bowl win, and you have to put a lot of respect on that individual's name as being a do-it-all. And soon, very soon, he's going to be having Philly cheesesteaks on the house in Philly.
Oh, he's getting Philly cheesesteaks on the house. He's getting that right now. I mean, sometimes you have to look at quarterback not for the statistical things, but does he win games? Does he do what the team needs him to do? Because if I got Saquon Barkley behind me and he's having a historic year and I got these big monsters up front, guess what I'm going to do, Joe? I'm going to hand the ball off to number 26 and I'm going to let him carry us as far as he can carry us. Now, if you want to stack the box, now I got A.J. Brown, I got Devontae Smith, I got Dallas Goedert, got Johan Dotson. Now it's up to me as a quarterback to make that work. And I got my legs.
And I have my legs. And you know what, Nadi? And that's why I'm going to stand on that hill. I'm going to die on that hill as far as the Eagles outcoached overall the Kansas City Chiefs because of this. Kellen Moore, offensive coordinator. Saquon Barkley did not have his yards per carry. He was averaging in the playoffs over 6 yards of carry per attempt, and he was explosive. The chunk plays. The Kansas City Chiefs limited the chunk plays. But what did Kellen Moore do? He stuck with the run. He stuck with the run. He still ran on first down. He still ran on second down. He threw in the run and made sure that the Kansas City Chiefs, their defense was honest. You could not just, tee off and do one thing or the other. Although those guys were not being successful like they were in the preseason, in the postseason, they stuck with it. So now with the threat of the home run player, the threat of Saquon Barkley taking it 50, taking it 60 yards, you have to prepare for that because they didn't go away from the run game. And on the other side, Andy Reid, Matt Nagy, and that offensive staff, they completely went away from the running game. And you're not going to like this, Nadi, but I blame that on Andy Reid. I blame the game on Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. When you're able to get that pass rush early, tap Patrick Mahomes. And that's why I've always said to guys as a quarterback that sacks do matter. Yeah, sacks, and you have 3 sacks, 4 sacks. That matters a lot. But it's more important for me being in that pocket if you touching that quarterback. Are you touching him? If you're touching him, if you're around their feet, or you're knocking him down to the ground, maybe it's not a sack, but you're hitting him. The offensive line has to get those guys up off the ground. It's more of an impact that's going to take his toll. Did you see, and I know you did, that Patrick Mahomes was uncomfortable in the pocket? Sometimes he had a clean pocket and he got happy feet. Sometimes guys were open downfield and he didn't quite know where to go escape outside the pocket, to climb inside the pocket. He was confused, and that's because of the defensive line. And they did not do anything crazy. The Eagles did not do anything exotic. They rushed forward and they dominated the offensive line of the Kansas City Chiefs.
Well, quarterbacks don't like to get touched. But
no, absolutely not.
To your point, Kellen Moore stuck with the run. He just ran the ball. And I was like, I thought it was good coaching strategy too, because one thing I want to do, as you pointed out, the better quarterback was probably Pat Mahomes. Well, I need to keep the ball out of Pat Mahomes' hand as much as possible. Now, with Jalen Hurts converting third downs, because he had to convert a lot of third downs because they were doing a really good job on Saquon, and the Eagles stuck with the run. Tell me, how does that affect the quarterback when the other team just refuses to give you enough shots, and now you got to play behind the 8 ball?
Well, you start pressing. And a lot of people now they look at it and they say that a veteran would not start pressing. Being in 5 Super Bowls, Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, that you can have the game slow down. That you've been there before. You've seen all the coverages. You've had all situations covered. You've been in a lot of different games, tight games, blowout games, and all that. You've seen it all. But no, you've not seen it all. You're going to press. When you realize that these guys are not giving me anything, when these guys are covering my wide receivers, when these guys are taking away my Hall of Fame tight end, and he's not open, he's not separating, when I don't have time to be comfortable back there, then you start to make things up on the fly. Then you don't have any answers. I looked at Patrick Mahomes, and I saw a guy that it wasn't the pressure. I mean, it wasn't the moment was too big. I don't want to, confuse anybody by saying the moment was too big. The moment was not too big for Patrick Mahomes. I'm not saying that. That game and the pressure that he was put under was a little overwhelming. It was too overwhelming for him to overcome. And then you start seeing ghosts. And then you start saying that, hey, man, if I don't go for chunk plays, if I don't try to make something happen, we're going to get blown out. And when you're doing that in a sound defense, taking away your number one option. And when you look at it, what was the number one option for Patrick Mahomes? And I refused, and that was my whole reason for picking the Kansas City Chiefs, because I didn't want to wake up on Monday morning if the Chiefs won and I didn't pick, and I picked against them. Because that would just be like, how are you going to pick against Patrick Mahomes? How are you going to do that? But my gut feeling, and I look back at it, the Philadelphia Eagles had the better team, overall better team.
Yeah, they did.
I mean, they absolutely have the overall better team now. Nick Sirianni is not a better coach. I don't think Jalen Hurts is a better quarterback than Patrick Mahomes. But when you total it all up, the Philadelphia Eagles are here to stay, and they are building a dynasty. Remember now, that's 2 Super Bowl appearances in 3 years. So I mean, what kind of dynasty are they building?
Yeah, Loose Neck said it's been a long time since he saw Mahomes that uncomfortable in the pocket. And speaking of Mahomes being uncomfortable in the pocket, and this is probably the worst game I've ever seen Pat Mahomes play.
Ooh,
I mean, you
preach,
talking about the first
preach.
half where they didn't even get past the 50-yard line. I mean, he threw a pick 6, and he followed that up with another pick, which pretty much spotted the Eagles 14 points right there. Do you think this did any damage to Pat Mahomes' legacy?
Big time damage. Big, huge. I'm not going to gloss over it, and I'm not going to pipe down. I'm not going to say, hey, Joe, are you overreacting? No, I'm not overreacting, Nadi. Big time damage. Because what are we putting Patrick Mahomes? Where are we putting him? We're not measuring Patrick Mahomes with Troy Aikman. We're not measuring Patrick Mahomes with Steve Young. We're not measuring Patrick Mahomes with, some of those John Elway. No. We're measuring Patrick Mahomes as one of the best quarterbacks we've ever seen, aren't we? One of the top quarterbacks.
Guys are the best quarterbacks we've ever seen.
I know, but we're
measuring.
Yeah, but Patrick Mahomes are above those guys. When you say,
I agree. I think he's above everybody. I mean, only person
that I
we
mentioned
can really compare him to is Tom Brady.
And the reason why I said that, Nadi, and I alluded to all those other guys, because we're going to hold them to a standard, and we're going to have to. That's the legacy we're talking about. Normally, when we're talking about quarterbacks getting to a Super Bowl, having a 3-2 record, being there and going for a three-peat, we're going to give him kudos for that, and I will give him kudos.
Right.
But that was not a good performance. That performance did hurt his legacy. Because why? I've never seen him have an ants in his pants. I've never seen him confused. I've never seen the GOAT, who I think is the GOAT, Tom Brady, whether you go from the last 10 years of Tom Brady's career to whatever, how you compare Mahomes with Tom Brady. I've never seen Tom Brady, I'm not going to say choke, look like that in a big game. I've never seen Tom Brady just give away the church's money like that. Tom Brady lost 3 Super Bowls. All those 3 Super Bowls, all 3 of those Super Bowls came down to where it had to be heroic plays. Nick Foles in the Philly special, that was one that had to, pull something out of their hat. Eli Manning twice with big, huge plays on the sideline. I think David Tyree, and then in the middle of the field. No, Manningham was on the sideline, and then David Tyree in the middle of the field. Huge plays. So, yeah, Tom Brady lost 3 Super Bowls, but I didn't see him get demoralized. I didn't see him looking like he didn't know what to do out there. And that is what I saw in Patrick Mahomes. Did I think he damaged his legacy? Yes. Can he overcome it? Yeah, he's got a career. He's only 28 years of age. He's got at least 10 years of playing at a high level. But that particular game, are we going to see, are we going to call it like we call it, or are we going to be honest, it damaged his legacy. No doubt about it.
The
yes,
2
sir.
Super Bowls that Tom Brady lost to the Giants. Once again, you're talking about that front four. Yusum Nora, I forget his name. Justin Tuck, those guys, they were getting out of Tom Brady. He looked confused. I mean, you didn't put up 17 points. That's not enough, Joe, in the Super Bowl. And then we look at a Super Bowl against the Rams with the opposing quarterback with Jared Goff, which is why they went and got Stafford. But you only put up 13 points. You won the game because the other team was just inept on offense. But Wade Phillips drew up a great defensive playing against Tom Brady. He just was playing against another team that was way more inferior. So it happens, Joe.
It happens, Nadi. I'm not going to let you do that to me, though. I'm not going to let you do that to me because you are absolutely correct about it happens. And the time that New England Patriots went undefeated, you're right, and they only scored 14 points. I think the total, at the end of the game was 17-14.
Right.
I think. So you're right. But I would say to you, Nadi, that Tom Brady did not give away the church's money. Tom Brady did not help contribute to that. Now, he was under duress. He did have happy feet and got sacked a lot because that rush got to him. And anytime a defense can rush 4 and then drop 7 in the coverage, it's hard to be able to get into those zones because it's just not much room to throw the ball and have your route concepts. But Patrick Mahomes, he gave 14 points away. That's what I'm talking about. He gave, with all the duress and all the front 4 and the pressure he was under, which I understand the offensive line got dominated, no doubt about it. But under all those duress and circumstances, he gave away 14 points, Nadi. That's what I'm talking about.
We saw he gave away 14 points. I was looking at the film, Joe. I was seeing Kelsey was supposed to chip. He's supposed to block Montez Sweat. Kelsey just is like an open door, man. He's letting guys come through to the quarterback. Tony letting guys bull rush him into the quarterback. It is a team game, Joe.
It is a team game, but I can't let you do it, Nadi. You're trying to do something I'm not going to let you do. I'm not going to let you not hold Patrick Mahomes to the fire. Well, the quarterbacks get all the blame and they get all the accolades every single time. So it's going to lie at his feet every single time. This one is going to lie at the feet of Patrick Mahomes. He needed to play a better game. And that's why. And it wasn't just one of those situations where in his post-game presser, when he's going to say that that game was on me, I have to play better. He wasn't just trying to take it all and be a good teammate. He knew he needed to play better. He needed to calm himself down. He needed to make sure he audibled or had a running game or took dink and dong and took those type things in the game plan. What about halftime? What about getting with Matt Nagy, the offensive coordinator, or Andy Reid, and talking through some things? We did not see a Patrick Mahomes that we are accustomed to seeing, did we? Now you can say because of the pressure of the Philadelphia Eagles, and that had a lot to do with it, Nadi. A lot to do with it. But my goodness, man, if we're going to give Patrick Mahomes all-time great, if we're going to compare him or put him up there with Tom Brady, which I think that comparison is by the wayside now, right? Would you agree with that comparison, Tom Brady and Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes? Wouldn't you agree that discussion, debate is put to bed for right now?
Oh, Joe, we're looking at 7 years as a starter. His worst year as a starter is AFC Championship. Okay, he's went to 5 Super Bowls. He's won 3 and he's lost 2. As a 7 years as a starter, that's unbelievable. The man was going for a 3-peat, something that hasn't been done in the NFL history since the merger, and only the Green Bay Packers since prior to the merger was able to pull 3 championships in a row off. He was in uncharted territory, Joe. Yeah,
and the GOAT has been in uncharted territory. Tom Brady had gone for 3 peats as well. Now, he didn't make it to the Super Bowl when he went for it back, I think, after they beat the Eagles and then the Panthers. They didn't make the Super Bowl the next year. But again, that's who we're comparing this to. I don't want you to get caught up. I'm not getting caught up that Patrick Mahomes sucks. He does not suck. No, that's why we're talking about all those accolades that you just mentioned, what he's doing, top notch. But he is not Tom Brady.
No, he's Pat Mahomes.
He's Patrick Mahomes. He has some work to do. He has some work to do.
He had some work to do. He's only like I said, 8 years in. Tom Brady played 20 years. Okay, But Brady had a 10-year stretch where he didn't even sniff the Super Bowl, Joe.
That's right. That's right.
Pat Mahomes haven't went through that drought yet.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so that's what we're talking about. We're talking about here and now. So if there is no way here and now that you can possibly put Patrick Mahomes on top, you can say he's in the same living room. You can say they're at the same dinner table, but he is not the head honcho over Tom Brady quite yet. And I am not just talking about Super Bowls. It does not. To me, he does not have to get 7 Super Bowls or win 7 Super Bowls to eclipse Tom Brady. But he's going to have to continue this trajectory for me, and he cannot, Nadi. And I'm putting a lot of emphasis on what happened Sunday night. He cannot put that on film. He cannot. Tom Brady never, ever, ever put that type of outing on film in the big game. That's what I'm holding him to. And I do know it's a team game. I do know that you take all 53 offense, defense, special teams. I do know that. But Patrick Mahomes cannot put that on film when you're talking about trying to be the GOAT.
And this is the Joe Show, in the huddle with Joe Hamilton, and filling in as the co-host is myself, Nadi. Before we move on, Joe, if Tom Brady had been in that spot on Sunday night, he's the quarterback for the Kansas City Chiefs. Everything else is the same. You think the outcome would have been any different?
Oh, that's on the spot now, and I'm not one that's just going to try to win the argument and just say yes.
I'm not trying to win the argument.
I'm talking about me. I'm not going to try to say yes because that's irresponsible. I'm not going to be irresponsible on you, Nadi. I would say that the Philadelphia Eagles would still win the game, but what I would say to you is I don't think that Tom Brady will help with the points. He would not give away the points. That's what I would say. I still think that the Philadelphia Eagles would win the ball game because anytime, just like the New York Giants did to them, anytime that you can rush 4 and drop 7, that's going to have the quarterback going through a tough time, getting reads, getting those concepts, and delivering the ball downfield. But I don't think Tom Brady is going to give away the football like Patrick Mahomes gave away the football. So it would be a different outcome as far as score. But I still think the Philadelphia Eagles would win. And again, what about Patrick Mahomes? This is what happened to Patrick Mahomes and all quarterbacks. So I would want to say this before we move on. You can have an all-time great quarterback, but how you stop an all-time great quarterback? Just like, Tom Brady got stopped with the Giants, 4-down linemen, rushing 4, putting pressure with that. Just like Patrick Mahomes just past Sunday. And when he lost to the Bucs with Tom Brady, that's what they did. Mm-hmm. They pressured him with 4. So that's the kryptonite to all quarterbacks. If you can drop guys and have them in coverage and make sure you touch him with the front 7, that's that's how you can make sure that a great quarterback become a little bit humbled.
That is, I think the Philadelphia Eagles are built the right way. They have they're built to have long-term success. They got a lot of young studs. They just drafted 2 cornerbacks. I mean, that line, them boys from Georgia, they're very young. Howie Roseman has just done an excellent job. And Jeffrey Lurie, we know he trusts in Howie Roseman, and he's willing to go out there and take risks. He's going to bring a Saquon Barkley in. He's going to take the risk he needs to do. Man, just talk about the Philadelphia Eagles, and is this have a potential to be a dynasty?
Yeah, yes, there is no doubt about it. If you look at it, that's 7 years. 2017-18 is when they went and they won the Super Bowl before when they beat the New England Patriots. And then now it's 2025 and they went to 2 more. That's in itself something that to be, clapped about, to be applauded. Howie Roseman, he does not stand pat. Howie Roseman does not care about anything that previously happens. He wants to maximize right now. He has an owner in Jeffrey Lurie that will open up the pocketbook. He has an owner in Jeffrey Lurie that does not mind paying guys at all if you produce. Those guys last year, after losing 9 out of the last 10 games, 8 out of the last 9 games last year, and a total meltdown, it was unacceptable. It was unacceptable. And what did he do? He went and paid and gave Saquon Barkley $12.5 million a year to come, the best running back this year, upgraded his team. A lot of people don't even remember, I think it's back in 2019 when he shipped when he shipped Carson Wentz off to the Indianapolis Colts for a first round and a couple other draft picks. Naughty, do you know who he got back with those draft picks? He got
Who
back.
got back?
He got back Devontae Smith. He was able to draft in the first
Heisman.
round. Yes, he was able to go out and get A.J. Brown. Okay, he was able to go out and get Jordan Davis. He was able to go out and get Jalen Carter. All right, so he was going out to do all those things in free agency and in the draft. And oh, by the way, what did he do this year? He played with an impact. Two guys, and this is what I love about the scouting department, and when people don't look at, and I love the science of football, and this just not the football field overall. He went and got two guys from Toledo and Iowa. Right, Toledo is Quinyon Mitchell. Now he's the top. He was projected to go in the first round, a baller. And then he went out and got Cooper DeJean from Iowa. A lot of guys passed on those guys, and he was able to good plug and play. He was able to go out and get Josh Sweat from Washington. You know, Nolan Smith had a role. All those things. And oh, by the way, what I love about how he's building a team and why I say it could be a dynasty, those guys are on rookie contracts. The big names, so you paid guys, Devontae Smith, highly paid, top 10. Right. A.J. Brown, top 10 wide receiver. You paid Jalen Hurts, he's a top 5, highly paid. Yeah. And some of these young guys are not up yet, or you can pick up a fifth-year option. You can do all those type things. So that's what I mean, that they're built to stay. They're built the right way. Offensive line, Maula, Lane Johnson, all those guys up front, they are well paid. They don't. So the locker room is not, oh, I want my money. I want my money. It's not disgruntled. They love each other. It's not crabs in the bucket. They play for each other. They trust the owner. They trust the GM. And that's why I say they're I wouldn't say it's a dynasty as far as winning a lot of championships, but what we can say is that the Philadelphia Eagles, they're going to be in the mix for the next coming years. There's no doubt about it, because I want to hear what you have to say about it. They're the favorite in the NFC to return to the Super Bowl, aren't they?
I would think so. I mean, we didn't even talk about Kelsey retiring at the center position, and then you go out and draft Jurgens and plug him right in. It's like every draft pick that Howard Roseman made, every free agent move that he made has been spot on. I mean, it's rare. It's very rare that a GM picks them all right.
And you don't get them all right, right? He has not got them all right. But again, it seems like it. But what I love about him, though, Nadi, what I really love about him, if he didn't get it right, he's going to quickly get it right. He's going to try his very best. He's not going to rest on the laurels. He's not going to say that, I drafted you high. I believed in you. And I'm going to hold you down, and I'm going to stick with you 2 or 3 years. If it's time to move on, he pulls the plug on you, and he moves on, and he's not afraid to kick the tires. He's not afraid to let the players, dictate the locker room. He's not afraid to pay the players, and that resonates with me big time.
Right. There was some rumors. I don't know how true the rumors are, but it was rumors that Myles Garrett was interested. He's interested in playing with the Eagles next year. Let's just say that so-called that happens. Myles Garrett on that line.
Ooh, I mean, unstoppable. I mean, it's already, Josh Sweat, now he's a free agent. Whether they're going to sign him or not, he's going to want big money. He's got a Super Bowl, so now it's time for him to cash in. I wouldn't be surprised if he's trying to, bust the bank and be highly paid. But the Myles Garrett, he can stand alone. Myles Garrett can play the end. He can set the edge. He can pass rush. He can defend the run. He can do it all. And when a guy is like that, disgruntled about winning, and shout out to Myles Garrett, it's not about the money. It's not about underpaid. He doesn't want to go anywhere else because financial reasons. He wants to win. Everybody wants to win. He says he wants to go to Canton, the Hall of Fame, but he doesn't want to get there without a Super Bowl ring. He doesn't want to get there without making a long run in the playoffs. So if he goes to the Eagles, I anticipate him taking less money to do that. A little bit less money to make sure he's on a winner. Wherever he goes, less money. I can see him with the Washington Commanders as well.
It would take a trade to make it happen. And I don't know if the Eagles, they have the assets, but would they be willing to get them up Hell, Philly moved on from Peterson shortly after winning the chip. They don't F around.
No, hey, but Peterson, Doug Peterson, champion.
Right.
And that's another thing which is so awesome, that how you build a team and you can withstand injuries no matter what. Nobody even talked about Nakobe Dean. Nakobe Dean kind of put up
Yeah, he did.
a all a Pro Bowl type season all over the place. Where did Bond? Where did he come from? He's a special teamer. All of a
Right.
sudden
1
now
year
he's
deal.
he's an all pro. All those type things. Nick Foles, when Carson Wentz went down, Nick Foles was able to plug and play and go ahead and lead you to a Super Bowl. That's the organization. The organization is a plug and play type of organization, and they cohesive. They're together. That's how you win. And I'm not saying Howie Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie, they're the only owners and GM that do that. But boy, it's working now, and I would copycat that as well. And it made me think, how do you build a team? How do you build a team? For me, Nadi, I go left tackle, and a lot of people would say quarterback first. It's hard to get a quarterback right away. It's hard.
Right,
I would
right.
build and then plug my quarterback in. I would go left tackle. I would go defensive end. I would go quarterback. And then I think it's shifting a little bit now. And I love Saquon Barkley and his humbleness of what he's saying. The value of the running back is slowly but surely coming back around. Slowly but surely. It's almost went to you would pick a wide receiver over a running back. And I didn't quite get how that shifted. It's never been that when we were growing up, it's never been that you would value a wide receiver over a running back. But in a couple of years, last few years, being top 10 picks and what wide receivers are going to do, they're making $30+ million a year, all those things. The value of the running back declined a little bit, but I think it's going to pick back up. I think it's going to pick back up with Saquon Barkley, what he did, the big boy in Baltimore, King Henry. Right. So I think when you have a running game, that's the quarterback's best friend. So you got to build a team and make sure you got the trenches, an all-world left tackle, all-world defensive end, and then when you can build an overall team, I think you're able to plug a quarterback in there a little bit later.
Yeah, I was just reading earlier that Ashton Genty was projected to be a top 10 pick, and I give a lot of that to the greatness of Saquon and King Henry this year. I mean, also, you got Jonathan Taylor, you got the running back up there in Green Bay. I mean,
Josh Jacobs.
They showed the value of having a stud running back on your team. We even saw what Aaron Jones helped Minnesota do. So,
yeah, because again, we always said you can plug and play any running back. You can find a running back off the street. A running back you can mix and match. You can put them in there on third down. Have a specialist. They are not that important. But when you have one, when you can find one, when you can, what you said a little bit earlier, when you can shrink the game a little bit, when you can have that time of possession and keep the ball, keep away from the opponent, that is so valuable. And, oh, by the way, somebody like Saquon and Derrick Henry, they can, it's a big play waiting to happen. So they're explosive. So it's not 3 yards in a cloud of dust. In a blink of an eye, it could be a 50, 60, 70-yard run, and that's just like a deep pass. So I'm happy, and I don't want to take away the wide receiver in the passing game because, that's how, that's what fans like, and that's what, a lot of people like. But the running game is still a quarterback's best friend and an offensive coordinator's best friend.
Right, I would hope, and I see Loose Neck in the chat. He's a huge Dallas Cowboys fan. Jerry Jones didn't value the running back. I think he got Zeke back off the street, and what did that?
Jerry Jones was too cocky. Jerry Jones was too cocky in the offseason. Jerry Jones said he's going to stand pat. Jerry Jones told us, and when I say us, I am a Cowboys fan, Nadi. I'm not going to back down from that.
To hear that.
I know. I don't boast, and I don't, have my chest up, as far as, like, hey, we America's team. It's sad days for the Cowboys right now. Very, very sad days. And Jerry Jones said before the season that we have all the talent in-house. That was the untruth. He lied to us fans. You don't have the talent in-house. Rico Dowdle, that's a third down back. He performed pretty good, but he's not a bell cow. The Dallas Cowboys are known for having a bell cow. What are you going to do when you start saying having help for CD Lamb? What are you going to do about that? And, oh, by the way, Did you hear Dak Prescott, brother? Did you hear Dak Prescott say that he is better, or they are better, or the Cowboys are a better team than the Philadelphia Eagles?
Well, you know,
Did you hear that?
Did you hear Jerry Jones? Jerry Jones said he was shocked that the Cowboys weren't in the Super Bowl this year. I mean, it sounds like Dak. Some of that delusion of Jerry Jones has rubbed down on Dak. What am I missing here, Joe? Maybe you can fill me in. That's your team. What am I missing?
Buying into the hype, false sense of security, thinking you are more than you are. That's what it is. You thinking this America's team has gotten to your head a little bit. That's what you're missing. Overconfident. Self-perception is way, way off. Now, Dak Prescott, he can miss me with what he's saying, because on the playground, he's almost like, "Hey, man, I'm 9-4 against you guys." That's his take. That's his take about it. I'm 9-4 all time in my career against the Philadelphia Eagles. That's what he's trying to hang his hat on, that he thinks that he's better, or they are better than the Eagles because he's 9-4. Hey, Dak, these quarterbacks, Dak is on the borderline. Dak is the third best quarterback in the NFC East. Would you agree with that?
I would definitely agree, considering that there's only 3 quarterbacks in the NFC East.
Yes,
because technically the Giants don't have a quarterback, so there's only 3 quarterbacks in the NFC East. So he's third in a 3-man race.
Yeah, and a lot of people would say, and I'm a little reluctant of 1 year giving Jaden Daniels the nod over Dak Prescott, because it's the body of work. I get it, but on the playground right now, if I had first pick, and I would pick Jaden Daniels over Dak Prescott right now, because I'm not sure of the. Dak Prescott to me gives me empty stats. Naughty. He gives me empty stats. Yeah, you might have 300 yards passing, but your team got blown out, and you were down early, and you were just throwing the ball all over the lot. So very disappointed. I just could not believe that he thought he was able to say that. Maybe it's clickbait. Maybe he wants to get on the national scene and have somebody that, hey, remember about me. Remember me. I'm Dak Prescott, because the Super Bowl champion, Dallas Cowboys, did not make the playoffs, and you're going to say you're a better team? I believe I'll be a better team than the Eagles. Come on, man. That's delusional.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. I think Jerry maybe persuaded. Look, I gave you $60 million. I made you the highest paid player in NFL history. I need you to go out there and build some hope for our fan base for next year, because right now, with the way Philly just won the Super Bowl and they're looking strong,
right?
And you just talked about Jaden Daniels, and with Washington, they look like they're gonna only progress from here. Dallas could be in trouble, man.
Hey, man. I'm telling you, man, I'm about to go neutral, man. I don't want to fall off. My dad is a Cowboys fan. A lot of people in my family are Cowboys fans. I'm about to go neutral, man. I'm about to just transfer and say, hey, I don't have a team, man. I just love NFL, man. That's how bad I feel about that.
Well, it's no shame, Joe. I mean, we've seen a lot of people fall off. I mean, just recently in the rap battle, we seen Drake fall off. And this halftime show by Kendrick Lamar, I mean, I thought it was spectacular, but clearly it has mixed reactions coming from not only the Caucasian people, but also from the urban Black people. It's everybody of all cultures have mixed reviews on this halftime show. I'm interested in your thoughts on the Kendrick Lamar halftime show.
I thought it was real nice. I thought it was well done. But I would have to say to you, Nadi, that I needed somebody else. I needed somebody else during that time, during the halftime show and right after the halftime show to really get it. I didn't get the theme. I didn't get the underlying message until somebody's like, this is why he did that. Look at what he did with this one. I was listening to the song. I was looking at the choreography. I was looking at all those things, and I thought it was well done. But when I heard about the meaning and what he was doing, the Samuel L. Jackson with Uncle Sam, when I heard about all those things and I broke that down, I had to go rewatch it. And then it went up to another level. I thought it was good watching it live, but I was just thinking that he put on the show because I like Kendrick Lamar. I like the album. I like the new song. So I thought it was really, really good. But the message I did not get live, Nadi. I did not get the message live, but I get it now. I understand it now. When somebody said, this is why he did that, or this is why this meaning about this one. So it was outstanding. And this is what I, firmly believe now. And this is what I'm going to take to bed with the halftime shows. Different genres, and you're not going to please everybody. And right. I put myself in that shoes. I always look at myself saying, what did you get out of it? How do you view people saying that it wasn't good? We have to humble ourselves, Nadi. We have to humble ourselves, because I sat there and I looked at Taylor Swift. I sat there and I looked at Bruno Mars. I sat there and I looked at some different other entertainers at halftime, and I didn't particularly care for them. I didn't. Correct. I looked at them. I'm like, hey, that's not me. But then when you look at it, the numbers were through the roof. Then when you looked at it and you talk to a lot of different people, they say, wow, that was spectacular. It was spectacular. I'm like, what? I didn't get that. So I'm settling in my soul the fact that it's not going to be for everybody, Nadi. Are you a reggae guy? Some people, pop. Country music, some people different genres, and that's how they're going to enjoy the Super Bowl. So I let it go a little bit. I don't condemn somebody that says that, it wasn't for me or I didn't like it. I totally understand, because I've been a part of Super Bowl halftimes before that I didn't particularly care for. It wasn't my cup of tea, and I just have to live with it.
Right. Mocha said she wanted to see some NOLA artists. And it was a lot of controversy before the halftime when they selected Kendrick Lamar. A lot of people were like, why Lil Wayne isn't doing it. But I would say for me, and I was one of them people who really wanted to see Lil Wayne. I think he would have done an incredible job. But for me, after seeing the halftime show performance and understanding there was entertainment and there was a message involved in it too that was really powerful on so many different levels, I'm okay with Lil Wayne not getting a nut this time. Maybe he'll get it another time in the future. Maybe in the next year, maybe a year after that. But I was really okay with I think Kendrick Lamar did a good job of erasing all of that.
Did you get it, Nadi? Did you get it live? Did you get it right away? I mean, as far as the messaging and what he was doing with the American flag, the video game, game over, the whole did you get it while you were watching it right live? Did you get it right away?
I got some of the messages. I was like, oh, he's saying some stuff. And here, definitely when they had the Uncle Sam and all that kind of stuff. But there was some things that I had to go back after hearing and I was like, oh, I missed that. Like I missed in the audience, there was a sign that said you're going the wrong way.
Wow.
I went back and watched it. I said, oh, and doing that, he was doing the song. So he was kind of telling us that we're regressing. We're moving in the wrong direction. We need to stop going that way and come the right way. So it was a couple of things that I missed that, and that's what made it so great. Joe, I don't know if you ever seen the movie Forrest Gump. I think it's one of the greatest movies that's ever been made. But every time I watch Forrest Gump, I watch it 1,000 times. Every time I watch Forrest Gump, I see something new. And I'm like, wow, they put that in there. Oh, I get what that means there. And that's what this Kendrick Lamar halftime reminds me of. I probably can go watch it 5 more times, Joe, and it's still going to be something that I missed.
And it's not just cultural differences. We can't put it at black and white, Caucasian, African American, all those type of things, because, like I said, I hosted a Super Bowl with Skylar. I think Skylar, my son, had 17 of his friends over. They love Kendrick Lamar, but they didn't get the message. They were a little bit disappointed until he played Not Like Us. They was like, it's all right, because he didn't play some of the songs that they were accustomed to. They wanted him to play more of those songs, so they didn't get the message. It was only until the next morning when I was driving them to school, him and my daughter, my son and my daughter, that I was telling them about, what the message was, what all the behind the scenes type thing is, and it's just not cultural. Is young folks, is African Americans. A lot of people did not care for what he did. It's just not. So it's a situation where you can't please them all. And you got to give a shout out to Kendrick Lamar, because isn't he the first rapper to stand alone at the Super Bowl? A rapper. He's the first rapper to stand alone at the Super Bowl, because what we say about the Super Bowl, you need to be entertaining. You need to have dance moves. Yeah, you want Usher, you want Beyonce, you want Rihanna, that can entertain you. And rappers don't necessarily have choreography, they don't have the sets like that, and be able to dance. But he was able to pull that off by himself. Yes.
Right. Well, it's gonna be like you said, you can't please everybody. I know one guy who really is not pleasing nobody. That's Nico Harris, man. These folks in Dallas, man, they want to fire him. They kicking folks out of the game because they saying fire Nico Harris. He went to SMU game. I guess he's doing some scouting. The whole crowd fired Nico Harris. And AD, he goes and plays one. I watched the game. He's balling. He's killing. And in the third quarter, AD does what AD does. He's out for a month. Man, just talk about, and I don't know if you're a Dallas Mavericks fan. I know Loose Neck.
I'm a basketball fan. No, I'm a basketball fan.
But let's just talk about the impact or how disappointing. I mean, because I felt disappointed for Dallas fans. How disappointing is it to make a trade? You trade one of the greatest players in the league right now, top 5 player, and the guy you get back, he might be able to help you if he's healthy, but on par, he's not healthy.
Well, on par. And what they'll say to us, Nadi, the Anthony Davis fans, they'll say that the last few years he's been healthy. Last year he played, I think, 70 plus games. He was healthy. But he's gonna show his stripes. He's going to show his stripes. He's going to have some soft tissue injury. He's going to be out for a long time. And although he's a great player, maybe he is a future Hall of Famer, you need to be able to gel. He's got to be able to gel. Whether he and Kyrie wanted to play with each other, they talked about it in the Olympics. They talked about those things. But you have to gel. You got to know the spots on the basketball court. You have to get Jason Kidd calling plays and being able to see how you mesh. What is the cohesiveness all about? And if you're not there in that tough Western Conference, that's a problem. So Nico Harris is all going to come back to his shoulders, on his shoulders anyway. He cannot contain, and it's not his fault about injuries. We know that. But this guy's injury prone. And oh, by the way, Nadi, I think the Lakers are going to make a lot of noise. I think the Lakers, even though that trade from the Charlotte Hornets got nixed a little bit as far as the guy filled his physical. But Luka Doncic and LeBron James, that's a problem. If they're making it in the playoffs, just think about you having to deal with those guys for 7 games. You having to deal with those guys for 7 games, that's going to be a problem. And oh, by the way, JJ Redick. I don't know if we said that was nepotism. I don't know if we said it was a good old boy, white boy, that why he got the job. He came out of media and all those type things.
Podcast, Joe.
Well, okay. So okay, Nadi. Okay, Nadi. He got the. Okay, you're right. That does not dispel the fact that he is coaching his rear end off. I don't care how he got it. Yes, sir.
Joe, I can go coach LeBron and AD on LeBron and Doncic and them same pieces. Just don't put Bronny in the game, and we gonna win.
Man, no, that's not correct, Nadi. No, you see, Nadi. We have to admit sometimes that we might have been wrong. I've been wrong. I was wrong about JJ. I thought he was going to be over his head, that he was not going to be able to appeal to these young folks, be able to implement his offense, his game plan. But I've never seen the ball moves. I've never seen the ball move like it's moving with the Los Angeles Lakers. Ball movement, player movement. LeBron is happy. LeBron is playing well. And now the IQ. Don't gloss over IQ. IQ is almost like leadership to me. IQ is like leadership. Yeah, you're born with IQ. Now, you got 2 of the highest IQ basketball players in the league, and Luka and LeBron and JJ Redick and the supporting cast. What about Austin Reeves? So
great
balling. So whereas that when the trade first happened, I thought that Dallas won the trade in the short term. Right. I have to take that back.
I mean, and I'm allowed to take it back. AD got hurt. If AD doesn't get hurt, you can stand on that hill, Joe.
No, I don't. Well, I was standing on that hill because I was thinking that the Lakers don't have a big man. How are they going to defend? Luka doesn't play defense, and LeBron is aging and all those type of things. But man, I'm changing a little bit.
Joe, don't get fooled by what happened with Utah. Utah sucks.
Hey, you saying
no
food,
good.
Naughty. You saying don't get food, Naughty. But again, I'm watching the game.
Wait,
I'm
just
not
wait
picking
a
up the
minute.
newspaper. I'm not picking up the.
Just wait a
Wait,
minute.
for how
Just
long?
wait till after the All-Star break when they start playing real teams. Now, don't get me wrong.
But see,
Luka,
you saying wait a minute. You saying wait a minute, Naughty. You saying wait a minute. But
right.
that is even more detrimental. You giving Luka and LeBron time to jail. So
Yeah.
wait a minute. So they're going to have extra time.
Wait a
Imagine
minute.
how they're
Yeah,
going to
I'm
be
saying.
if you wait a minute.
I'm saying everything looks good when you play in Utah. And the Lakers did just sign Alex Len to a 1-year deal. So they got another big
body.
man. So they got 2 backup big men to play, which might be served them well. They needed another big. If they can get Connect out of his feelings because he felt some kind of way for being traded and sent back.
Right.
He's in his feelings. He didn't even want to,
Well, who wouldn't know,
be a
Naughty?
teammate on the bench.
Think about that, Naughty. Think about that. I mean, you're gonna have to have big boy pants on. You're gonna have to have some fortitude. You're gonna have somebody in your corner to be able to talk to you about it's just a business. We hear people talk about it all the time that it's a business. I understand the business of basketball, but do you really understand it? Do you get it when it happens to you? So I mean, he's gonna have to grow up. This is a young, I wouldn't say young kid, young adult. I mean, early 20s. So that scarred him.
Mm-hmm.
That scarred him. You can imagine, man. Now y'all want me. Now y'all want me. But how quickly can he get back to the role that he was playing? How quickly can he get back? Maybe this is going to humble him a little bit to say, hey, man, I'm expendable. They don't really need me, even though I was a top 20 draft pick. Hey, they can get rid of me in the blink of an eye. So I like where it's going. And now that, football is over, baseball is about to come around, but basketball, I'm very intrigued now about down the stretch. OKC, the Cleveland Cavaliers over there in the East, the Boston Celtics is screwed.
Jimmy Butler.
Man, I still got a problem with Jimmy, man. I mean, he rubbed me the wrong way, and I understand what Jimmy did. I understand, and he's happy now, and that's an organization that.
Has he ever been happy? Is Jimmy Butler ever happy?
What does he want, man? I mean, from the Timberwolves to Chicago. I mean, he's disgruntled, man. So, but again, Steve Kerr, former basketball players, upper management, Steph Curry, and they're running that pick and roll now. Can you imagine running a pick and roll with Jimmy Butler and Steph Curry? What are you going to do? Those 2 players going to Steph Curry, and then you leaving Jimmy Butler. And you know what we call him? Playoff Jimmy. Jimmy Buckets. He might not show up. He might not show up in the regular season, but my goodness, in the playoffs, he's going to be the real deal, Holyfield. So, I'm really fine-tuning in now, man, in late February or mid-February what the NBA is about. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think the NBA is they definitely stole that week of the NFL not playing. They stole all the headlines. I mean, they had some really good trades. I mean, Sacramento, De'Aaron Fox going to San Antonio. You had the Hawks even make a couple moves, which I think benefited the Hawks, but it helped Cleveland out too. Cleveland is going to be formidable in the East when it comes time to play the playoffs. And the Knicks have been really rolling. I mean, Big Cat put up 40 here. Damn near half the team put up 30 the other night. I mean, it's basketball is in a great place right now. If the stars
absolutely. And we'll get into it as the season moves along a little bit later on. But what about the disrespect for Trae Young, brother? I don't understand it. And the reason why I say is disrespect with the All-Star game, it's the coaches. It's the coaches. Right. I mean, I don't know if Lloyd Pierce is putting in a bad word against Trae Young, what happened when Lloyd Pierce was here. But it's the coaches. The man sacrificed his game as far as big-time numbers, volume shooter, to now all of a sudden being a role player, dishing the ball, playing better defense. Hey, man, he's never going to be a lockdown defender. He's never going to be a defensive all-NBA type of guy. Right. But he's giving the effort. He's doing things that, he's showing the effort. I just don't understand the angst and the hate from the coaches. From the coaches about Trae Young. I just don't get it. The young guy is balling, and he's another guy, or he's one of those guys that's never played with an all-star. Everybody you talking about around, I mean, Luka Doncic, he played with Kyrie Irving. LeBron, he's got Anthony Davis. Ant-Man, he played with, Julius Randle, he played with Towns. Jalen Brunson. I mean, you can name Joker, the big Joker. He's got Murray. Yeah. I mean, everybody's got some help, and Trae Young is never. Now, Jalen Johnson, I mean, he's up and coming. If he didn't get hurt, he was a double machine, but I mean, he's never been playing within an all-star. And just I don't like the hate that goes around with Trae Young. And I know he went through some things early in his career as far as being selfish and empty stats and stat pile and all those type of things. But come on, man, sometimes a guy can change the narrative and you have to accept it.
That's correct. Joe, let me bring you in. Let me bring you in a little bit. Let me huddle up with you and call the play. What you got for in the huddle tonight?
Yeah, this is what I got for in the huddle, man. When you show up, all right, when you show up, Nadi, when I show up, don't show up wearing a mask. Show up being you. I've dealt with different circumstances to where you want to look at a different crowd. I'm going to be in this crowd. I have to go over here, and I'm going to have to sharpen up. I'm going to have to change my swag. I'm going to have to change my look. I'm going to have to change my attitude. No longer for me, Nadi. No longer for me. And I encourage everybody that when you show up, make sure you're not showing up to fit in. You're showing up to be who you are. You're showing up to be Joe Ham. You're showing up to be Nadi. And if you don't fit there, then you can leave. You can make sure that because you don't have to worry about what mask you got to wear on a different day. You don't have to worry about, I was over in this group and I had this mask on one day, and now I have to put on a different mask. Anytime you show up as who you are, whether they like it or not. You'll be comfortable in your skin. Whether they like it, they have to deal with it, but you wouldn't feel condemned. You wouldn't beat yourself up because authenticity is the name of the game. Show up being yourself. Don't compromise yourself for anything, and I think we'll get a long ways by doing that, my brother.
And this is the Joe Hamilton Show, in the huddle with Joe. I'm your boy Nadi hosting the show today. Joe, it's been really great, man. We touched on a lot of things in that hour,
That's
man.
good stuff, Nadi. That's good stuff, man. Too quick, brother.
Yeah. I already know, man. It's almost like it take a month to get back to a week, But we'll be back. We'll be back next week right here on the Stewart Media and Entertainment within the huddle with Joe. And Joe, next week we'll have all the graphics and stuff right, man. Like I said, we playing. It's your fault, Joe. I hate to blame you, but
listen. The bottom line, man. The bottom line is that bottom line, Nadi, is that we moved the chains. We didn't get sacked. We moved the chains. We got 8 yards on first down, and then we got 2 yards. No, hey, listen, Nadi, you're gonna come around. You're gonna come around. Pat Mahomes is not in the atmosphere. He's not in the stratosphere with Tom Brady right now. He's not there.
Hey, Joe, I'm not gonna have this argument with you right now. I'm gonna let you have it. Like I told you earlier, you the one that got the quarterback eyes, man. I'm just a man on the couch who's observing. So I'm gonna let you have it in a week. But until next time, now we appreciate y'all showing up. This has been In the Huddle with Joe, right here on the Stewart Entertainment and Media. Hey, make sure y'all hit that like and subscribe button for real, and so y'all can get alerted on when Joe dropping this knowledge. Till next week, we'll see y'all.
Peace.